Great, thank you. Well, welcome everybody to Building a Speech the Lego Way. How many of you have had this experience? Somebody has put you on the agenda for your next club meeting, and you're going, I gotta give a speech. Oh my gosh. You're wondering, well, what am I going to talk about? What project is it going to be? And now that we've got pathways, we can't just open the manual and go, that one. So we've got some challenges. But what I want to share with you today is some of the lessons that I learned quite a long time ago about how to easily, quickly, accurately, and powerfully put together a speech. Are you in the right place? Yes. How many of you have had this experience that you're looking at your speech and everything is just a jumble? I mean, you're sitting there going like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? I've got all of these ideas. Well, I'm going to show you an easy 3.5-step way to take and turn your Lego blocks into this wonderful, beautiful pattern that is going to be the most powerful speech you've ever given. Have you ever listened to your CEO or maybe your division leader? You know, some of these people that they have to give a speech and they really could use Toastmasters. Well, as Toastmasters, we're lucky because we've got some wonderful gifts and abilities, and we're in a very supported environment. And as Toastmasters, I just want to share some advanced secrets with you. Myself. So I set out to learn. And through Toastmasters, I worked the program. I'm a distinguished Toastmaster, but I also found the accredited speaker program, which is for the professional speakers. And 10 years ago, I started that journey, and I invite you to go on the Toastmaster website and find out all you have to do to become an accredited speaker. It's a wonderful, difficult, soul-searing, skill-building accomplishment. And in Vancouver in 2017, I presented in front of 2,800 Toastmasters from 140 countries around the world, and Catherine, and was awarded my accredited speaker designation. But what I'm going to share with you today is some of the skills I learned, some of the processes I learned that really helped me along that path as well as a professional. This is a skill that will help you with any other Toastmaster speech, any corporate presentation, any bar mitzvah or wedding toasts or speeches that you have to give. This is good, practical, everyday life skills. How do we get ready? Well, instead of having our big bucket here, this is what a speech looks like. This is a completed speech. And so what we have on the bottom is the feet, because the feet of your speech is your purpose. Why are you giving the speech? What's the purpose? Is it to celebrate somebody? Is it to deliver research? Is it to entertain? What is your purpose? Second of all, have you planned your speech? What is the plan? Everything we do has a plan. A speech has to have a plan, and I'm going to be sharing that with you. We then have to produce our speech. That's the production piece. That's when we sit down and we open our story file and say, oh, what stories do I want to tell that are going to support this purpose? What points do I want to make that are going to support the purpose? That's part of the planning. And then number 4 is the practice element. How many of you were at D42 in the spring when I talked about the art and science of practice? I've heard people say, oh, I don't want to practice too much because I'm going to get stale. Are you serious? You can't over-practice a speech. When I was getting ready for my accredited speaker presentation, the very first thing in the morning, I would lay in bed and I would run through the speech in my head. Then I would get up and I'd do it again in the shower. And then I would do it again as I was, fussing around the kitchen. I would commit to myself to practicing my speech a minimum of 20 times a day. Minimum. Every day, 20 times. And the very last thing before I went to bed, I had my PowerPoint slides up, and I'd run through my PowerPoint and my speech, PowerPoint and speech. So the very last thing I saw in my head was my speech. Every speech that you give, I believe, should be embedded in you so that at midnight, I could just say, hey, Joseph, give me your speech. And out of a dead sleep, he would wake up and give a speech. That's how much practice we should be doing for our regular project speeches. When they really matter, like corporate events, etc., you cannot over practice. So that's the foundation, these 4 points here. Purpose, what's the reason? Planning, giving it structure. Producing, in other words, writing it and fiddling and editing. And then practicing it until you can give it in your sleep.